Welcome to this episode of In the Grove. I'm your host, Jeff Franke. Today I have Elk Grove Village's new trustee, Joe Bush, with me. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Let's start off. Tell people a little bit about your history with Elk Grove.
New Year's Eve, 1978 was a special day for the community.
Okay.
That's when I was born at Alexian Brothers, and born and raised the whole time in Elk Grove. Went to Queen of the Rosary School. Actually went over to Driscoll Catholic High School in Addison. We had moved to the west side when I was in 7th grade. And then after I got married, my wife and I were living in Schaumburg, and then my dad sold us the house, so we came back to the exceptional community. And at the same time, I had a job at Elk Grove High School, which was a nice little commute for me. And my wife was staying home with our boys, and then she started working at the Elk Grove Park District Preschool, and now she works on the west side at Link School, so we're through and through Elk Grove.
Wow. Now, growing up, you played sports and all the rest stuff?
Yeah, played soccer, through Elk Grove Soccer Club in the community. Started with, Coach Klaus, Coach Burden from, way back in the day.
Yeah, Lee Burden, sure.
Yeah, Coach Eisenhower, all those people were just, great names.
Wow.
From back. And then, played that, and then it kind of turned into travel, and that was my big, push. Then played basketball at Queen of the Rosary, and played soccer in high school and a little bit in college, and now came back, and I'm this year currently coaching the assistant varsity coach at Elk Grove High School, but I was the head varsity coach for 7 or 8 years in the 2005 to 2013 or something like that.
So you've had quite a history here in Elk Grove.
Oh, love it. Love it, yeah.
I've heard your name a lot. Some of it good.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, okay, so you're teaching here, your family's growing up here and all that. The mayor comes to you and talks to you and says, think about ever getting in politics. How did you handle that?
It was a strange, random Tuesday night phone call, and I remember, he called kind of like 8:45, and I went back and I checked my phone, and I saw I had the message, and I went to my wife and said, "Yeah, the mayor just called, and I have no idea, but I'm going to give him a call back." And yeah, he just said it thought about some of the work that I do with the service and leadership class, the work that I'd done in the Community Character Coalition, and teaching civics, teaching social studies. Thought it might be a good fit, and so I talked it over with the family. Kind of got a feel, about what it is that they do, what do trustees do, how I could serve the community, answer some questions, and thought it was a good fit for what I want to do and who I want to be.
Yeah, well, kind of had the same situation 17 years ago.
Yeah, the shoulder tap?
Yeah, I was on the zoning board for 9 years, and all of a sudden he just came up to me and said, "Ever think?" And I go, "No."
Yeah, right.
I go, "I already vote for you, don't worry about it," all that. And so I understand where you're at, but I grew up in Elk Grove, been here since '59. So,
really?
we both love the town, so
yeah.
it makes sense to get involved in all that. I think a lot of us are very happy. I mean, you are younger. I used to be the young one.
Right.
Now you are,
yeah.
Which is great because we need to get fresh ideas, things like that. Yeah. But so he says, "Okay, Joe, you want to be a trustee?" And you get in that. Now you replaced Trustee Pat Feichter, who was going to retire at some point. But,
right.
Did you ever get a chance to talk with Pat before this, or
not about the trustee? But he and I were on the CCC together. I know he was a social studies teacher at Maine South, so there was some crossover, and he always liked the things that we did in my class with the civic engagements. We had a lot of conversations, and then certainly after I was appointed, he was at the meetings. That was his kind of goodbye and my hello, and so he was just very happy, very pleased, thought it was a good fit, and just loved having, he loved that he being a teacher was replaced by a teacher. I think that made him feel pretty good. Well, for all the work he did, it was nice to be able to fill in for him.
And he sure did a great job. I mean, everybody, up until, at 17 years, up until everybody else just really retired, I was the least amount of time on the board, so 25 years or more. And these people, they forgot more than I know.
Right. So. Yeah, and it shows how much they care and how much they want to be part of the community. And and I would just, you would see these names in different events, and it's just like, wow, they do this and they do this and they do this, and it just, you could tell that they care and they want the community to grow, and it's an honor to be a part of it and hopefully follow in their footsteps.
Well, and that's the nice thing of having different people involved, because I was the only one working, and now you are working.
Yes.
So we're the, some people are retired, some are partially working, but I think we need to have that continuity of everybody
Right.
being able to actually represent
Represent, yeah.
everybody at different levels of the village. So
sure.
that's good. So you mentioned about now you have taught at Elk Grove High School now.
Right.
Where were you before this?
So I taught 2 years at Driscoll Catholic High School.
Okay.
And then I came over to Elk Grove in 2003. And so I've been there for, this will be my
20 years.
21st year, yeah. So
Wow.
I just spent my 20-year pen from the high school. It's the same pen I got for 15 and 10 and 5 years, but
Is it?
it's a pretty nice pen. It's a pretty nice pen.
You get a village pen now.
Oh, that's exciting, yeah.
Well, it's nice that you're involved in all these other groups. I think you know a lot more about the village than a lot of people because you're involved in this. And
Correct.
I know you're in with a lot of the fundraising in the Community Character Coalition, all
Right.
the other groups. So I think you get a better idea of what's going on in Elk Grove, so you can help make it a better place with your decisions.
Right.
So you have leadership through service course?
Yes.
Can you explain some more about that?
Yeah, so it's kind of a piggyback from Jim Airy, who actually we just honored in our May or June board meeting. He was a retired teacher. He had a program called Public Service Practicum, where he connected kids with members of the community, and they did a ton of service. And then that program went away for a little bit. And then I went, Paul Kelly was our new principal in 2013, 2014. He started, and I proposed this idea of having leadership and service class. Can we teach students about leadership, and can we go out and serve the community? So whether that's fundraising or bringing food over to the food pantry or helping senior citizens. We were just out a couple weeks ago raking leaves for seniors in the community that can't do it themselves, or people with disabilities. We've done St. Baldrick's fundraisers, and then the list kind of just goes on and on. And I think it's really important for students to see the impact that they can have, both in the community and just among themselves, growing in their own leadership. And so I thought that was a perfect tie-in for what I want to do as a trustee and really connect the youth to what's going on. And just today in class, a person comes in. I said we had something at the village today, and said, "Can you make it so Arlingtonite's speed limit is 45 miles an hour?" So I don't think I have that kind of power. But why is it? Well, because I got a ticket. Well, then just go 35. She's like, "But if it was 45, I wouldn't have gotten the ticket."
Yeah, of course.
So I think being able to explain to students what we actually do and what we don't do, but getting them interested in the community, and you say it, and Mayor Johnson says it all the time, that you're not going to do this job for 50 more years, and so you want to make sure you have people that represent the community and will continue to do that.
Well, we need to, and I hope you can do this, because it's hard to get younger people more involved in the community.
Right.
As we see, even we had a lot of, came from the athletic associations back from 1990, and so I got involved, and I get to know a lot of people, learn how to run programs, stuff like that. But there's not the same amount of people doing sports and all the rest, so they're not involved. You don't get to know the young parents as much, and I think we don't see a lot of people voting at younger ages.
For sure.
And people need to make that decision to help, or else they're not going to have any say. They sure as heck don't have a problem complaining on Facebook.
Right, exactly.
But they need to get involved in this. So we all are looking forward to hopefully you and more younger people getting involved, because that's the future of Elk Grove.
For sure, hopefully.
Can you, like the history and your vision, what is your vision and your policies?
Yeah, I think the big vision is getting more people involved, just making aware of what we do here in Elk Grove, why this is a wonderful community, and how can we continue that. So we talk about our low tax base, we talk about all the programs, the Park District is second to none, we talk about the Village Concert Series. People like to live in Elk Grove, and how can we continue to do that and provide services for those people? The perfect example, the concert series. I had so many messages from former students who were in that 22 to 35-year-old range, which are just so happy with the All-American Regis, so happy with the neon trees and Oktoberfest and Rotary Fest. People just love Elk Grove, and we talked about people rarely leave. or if they do, they just go across to Schaumburg, but then they'll come back to our concert series. So in terms of policies, I think being fiscally responsible is very, very important. Keeping that tax rate low, keeping our water bills low, but providing quality service for everybody. I'm so pleased, and I mean, I came in the very end of this, so I can take no credit, but the accreditation that our police have gotten, the fire department have gotten, our public works have gotten, how can we support those people, pay them well so that they're doing the job to keep the village in the shape that it's in, which is just phenomenal.
As you'll find out, every year it's something different that we have to focus on. Before, we had so many fire and police applicants that, there'd be 300 at a crack for 2 jobs. And now you got to try to find applicants.
Yeah.
Because, times have changed, everything else. It's same thing with people even run this department, run public works. Yeah. You want to get good people and you want to keep them.
Right.
I mean, if not, you keep replacing people, you're not going to have any continuity, and it's not going to run.
Yeah, and I think it's important when possible to, promote from within if it calls for that. So you've had people that have been doing things a certain way, and then somebody moves on. Can we have somebody that fills in that's going to do a good job? Of course, sometimes you've got to go outside, and totally understand that. We want to get the best possible candidates for all positions. But the main thing is, keeping and growing that little bit every year to get better in all the departments.
So, be as honest as you can. When you first got into this and all that, were you kind of overwhelmed? Did you understand how things run or how to try to run things? It's not normal.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. So, when you sit down, even Mayor Johnson explained it as well as he could. The things you'll get some reading, you'll get a package delivered, Wednesday nights and Friday nights, and then you get this dictionary of everything, and you're like, wait, what does this mean and stuff? And that's where the staff has been phenomenal. Right. Caroline has been great. I've texted her and called her so many times. It was just like, hey, what does this mean? Like, why does this budget number only go to here? What all those different things. And I visited, and I thought this was great, the orientation, and Kathy Jarish did the same thing. I went spend a day with the police department, a day with the fire department, a day with public works, and you just go around, and I had no idea. There was, I've lived in Elk Grove my whole life, and I've biked almost every part of town as a little kid, but the public works takes you on the far side, and this is a water tower and this, and you get into all these restricted areas. I just had no idea that all these things are happening at once. And I thought really the public works with the water pressure, they're looking at this and we get an alarm that goes off if this but all those things are important to know.
It's the infrastructure of this town, and people just drive over it all the time.
Right.
You don't see but pumping stations down along where everything goes low over there by Elk Grove Boulevard. Has to be pumped and sent over, and it's constantly has to be monitored.
Right.
This and that. And the fire department, they're constantly training during the day.
Right.
And doing other different things. Learning new techniques.
Yeah.
Police department, same thing. It's we have this new village. Well, I call it new, but it's been around for probably 15 years. But just what it was like before that, it was everybody functioned. Channel 6, which is now EGTV, was in the basement of the old library.
Really? Yeah.
I think they had to wear scuba gear because it's underwater.
Underwater, yeah.
But just all the different things, and it makes things run better, and that's all we
Right.
try to do is make things go better,
Yeah.
and not to fail on our watch.
Right.
And look for the future, because a lot of these plans that are going through now have been made 15 years ago. Some of
Right.
it, it adapts all the time, but now you're on board for the next one. It'll be 2035.
Yeah, the next
That
plan.
we'll be looking at, what could happen. It's not like it's going to, but
Right.
we need to stay a
Being
step
prepared.
ahead. And now I say that about the people that were here before me. They were planning well, and the industrial park, which is we call our golden goose,
Right, yeah.
because it's without it we wouldn't have half the things we have. So
For sure.
those are things that we need to keep fluent. But with you growing up here, you know that.
Yeah, and that's what I think I'm most impressed with is just the proactivity of all the departments. And when we went through Public Works has got backups and backups and backups and stuff because the water main breaks at 2 a.m. They've got to get out there.
All the
They can't. It's not like at our house I can run to Home Depot, I get a piece of PVC pipe. These things are $10,000-$50,000, whatever it is, to be able to replace them. And that's the key is thinking about 2035 and not if we're going to put in a new water main or we're going to replace curbs, we know and we can budget for that, as opposed to, oh my goodness, it broke, what are we going to do now? We're getting way ahead of those things.
Yeah. Is there any certain thing that you want to accomplish or anything that you, like, I'm sure you didn't think about it before you were asked to come and run, but.
No. I think the youth involvement is important. I think the safety is important. I think keeping things like the hospital at top notch, making this a community which can, be great for people that are, first born here all the way until, retirement and after, that they have opportunities to succeed and they have opportunities to just feel good about the place. I think, specifically, I'm very focused on the idea of low taxes and finance. I think that is really, really important. And I think they do a really good job in the finance department of mapping things out and, kind of overestimating what they think it'll cost, because we'd rather have too much prepared than not enough. And then, just providing great programs for everybody. I mean, you just see the, like the tree lighting, or the smiles on their faces when kids are coming and they're doing face painting at Oktoberfest. Like, all that matters, and the parade. I mean, I'm not not really a big parade guy. I'm not.
I'm not either.
But we had our students, carrying the balloon, and just as you're walking down the street, these kids, you're handing out candy, and kids are smiling, and for days, they're, I saw you with that Curious George balloon. So those things, I think, staying ahead. And Mayor Johnson, I mean, he's a little kid and is thinking a lot, and he's very, very creative.
In more ways than you know.
Right. But I think he's just always thinking, and he's always listening. I think that's probably the most important thing, is listening to what people are saying, and it's been eye-opening with the with the coffee with the boards, things that you hear, and there's things like we can fix, and there's things that we can't. And I think you talk a lot about it too, like educating people. We had a woman who was talking about late buses in the school district, like that's not us. So we had to say, okay, here's the things we can do, but listening and responding, and that's really, really important. For people need to be heard, and sometimes it's just when they're heard, then they'll have a positive interaction with the village.
And mostly 90% of the people, they just have a question, they don't understand it, and they want an answer. And we can, if we don't have the answer, we get them the answer. And all that. Now, whether they like the answer or not, that's a whole different thing. But we're Elk Grove residents. We grew up here just like them. We pay taxes just like that.
Right, yeah.
So that once they understand all that, they okay, yeah, I said, go home and see if everybody in your family agrees with something.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't happen. I said, well, figure 33,000 people. So,
right, yeah.
So I think you're going to do a great job. I was really excited. In fact, Craig just pulled this on us and told us, he always has something in the back of his mind.
Right.
And I'm like, wow. I said, I told him I hated him. And he goes, why? Because I didn't come up with that idea.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's great.
No, I think it's great that you got involved, and we appreciate that, and we look forward to working with you, and hopefully a lot of your new ideas. So,
can't wait to see what happens, and filling out Feichter's term, and then running for re-election. I got to see what that's all about. I don't know. I might need some tips and some signs and some.
That's a whole other thing.
Door knocking technique.
I don't, and I don't think you'll have an issue at all. That I mean, there's always people vote.
Right,
and
exactly.
So they do that, but just from what I've seen, I mean, you got my support, and I'm sure you do with everybody else. So.
Yeah, just got to get enough of my students to be 18 to be able to vote.
Make sure they are.
Yeah, right. Make sure they are.
Well, hey, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
I hope people watch the board meetings, all that, see what the stuff that you do. And I'm sure everybody in high school, I knew who you were. You taught two of my kids, I believe.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's you've got a name out there. So. I think people will be watching, and hopefully you'll do some great things.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity and hosting today.
Great.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the program, everyone. I'm Sue Heaton, and with me is someone you're very familiar with. Jeff, weren't you just here?
I think so.
Okay. Well,
I don't think I ever leave.
No, Jeff Frankie's with us now to fill us in on some upcoming events that are very important, very practical in our community. And I know at home in my mail yesterday, I just received the brochure, and I cut it out and put it up on the fridge, so I remember recycling is coming up.
Yes, we have a couple events going on. First one I'm going to talk about is our paint and oil recycling, which is going to be May 4th.
Now, how long ago did this type of recycling event begin? How many years ago?
I think we first started the paint and motor oil recycling and antifreeze recycling probably around 10 years ago.
Because prior to that, what What did people do with
Yeah,
those?
pretty much. People tried to throw it in their garbage, or
Not good, because then it ends up in the stream, and eventually, yeah, not a good
hide
idea.
it in bags and they just throw it
Yeah.
out. So it got to be a bigger thing. The area would have some events, but people just couldn't get to them. So Elk Grove decided that we're going to start doing it ourselves. It actually started by the high school parking lot. So you would line up down Lions Drive,
Yeah.
and actually, it's moved so quicker now when people pull in, because there were hour waits because the line.
know.
But people were holding on to the stuff, not trying to throw it in the garbage, but didn't do anything, just put it back in the garage.
Sure, they were storing a
So
lot
over
of
the
it.
years, people have cleaned out their garages and brought in that old paint,
Mm-hmm.
and now people are a little smarter on how much paint they buy. They're not going to go out and buy
yeah.
5 gallons if they only need 2.
Yeah, good.
So, which is, everything's more expensive now, so it makes sense. But
So
that's about
last
how
year,
many years.
how many gallons do you say? Do you track this?
Well, last year, yeah, we do. We count the cars, and then also the amount of product brought in. So on the paint and motor oil, we had there were about 290 cars for that, and then I have my numbers here: 4,320 gallons.
Oh, that's a
of
lot to
paint.
save from going in the environment.
Exactly, and that to me that's huge. But this is smaller than it's been.
Well, where
So-
does it go after it goes?
Well,
to,
it goes to recycling places. It goes to the northwest suburban area of where they collect all these type of things, and it's reprocessed, and they're able to use it. They might even be able to make paint again from it.
Yeah.
But they have to divide up. There's different ones, and the only ones we accept are latex, acrylic, and oil-based paints. We don't take in paint thinner or anything
Oh.
like that. Just for the list of what we will take is motor oil, and then antifreeze, and then the paints, like I said, latex, acrylic, and oil-based.
Now, what if you have a can of spray paint?
We do not accept cans. The aerosol and the cans could explode or things
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Now this is just the Elk Grove event, and this event is only for Elk Grove residents. You have to
Oh.
bring your ID to show that, because we're doing this. We're not using any other kind of
Oh, I
entity like Swank that we normally do our programs with. So you have to bring your ID and be an Elk Grove resident. So
And there's not much of a time commitment. You say the line moves.
the
pretty
line
quick.
moves very swiftly. Now we do it at the Devon Public Works, where we do all our events now. So you would come there, and I believe the hours are 9 to 12 p.m. on May 4th, a Saturday. And the way you pull up, the line's constantly moving. You stay in your car, you pop your trunk, people take
Take
the
it from
product
you.
out, put it in the proper containers, and then you move along. So it's really quick,
Yeah.
especially I work the paper recycling and electronics recycling, so I just see, we're constantly just moving people around. We always have coffee with the board on the first week of May, so I never make this one.
Yeah.
So I have people bring my paint for me.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very quick, and thing is you got to make sure that it's either in a gallon container that it came in or a 5-gallon container. We're not going to take it in
no quarts?
Well, you take quarts,
Oh,
but as long as it comes in a container
I see,
that
like
that
the
it
original-
came
yeah.
in, so a quart, yes,
Yeah.
but not in, say, pouring it in a jug or something
Oh,
else like
yeah,
that
a
would be
mason
windshield
jar.
washer jug or something like that. It's got to
Okay.
be in, and it should be labeled. Now, I know paint goes all over the labels and all
Mm-hmm.
that, but they need to be able to figure out what kind of paint it is, so they can put it away.
And let's say somebody misses the date for the paint and they don't want to wait another year. You were saying that I think even at Home Depot you can buy some kind of material to put into the can and let it sit
If you don't want to
around?
wait every year, and
Yeah.
there is and on our website there are, if you go into recycling and you put paint oil, we also list places you can go to. And I think there's a place in Naperville that actually takes paint and things like that, and aerosol cans and all the rest of that year round. But
Oh.
they may only do it on a Saturday, but that's in Naperville. For our event, it's just that. But the spray cans, things like that, we can't take.
Okay.
I've done this before. Again, you have a little bit of paint left over.
Yeah.
You can get oil dry. You can get sawdust.
Yeah,
you can
the
get
sand.
a kitty litter we
Kitty
talked
litter,
about.
yeah.
You can put that in there and mix it up and have the lid off, and it will dry. it may take a week or two to
Right.
dry.
And then
Yeah.
you can put it in.
Then you can just put it in your regular
trash.
garbage. If it's dry paint, I know people that all they did was paint a piece of cardboard, a big piece of cardboard, till it dried, paint it again,
Oh,
paint it
yeah,
again,
yeah.
paint it again, and this way there was a
It
little
used it
paint
up,
left in the
yeah.
can, that dried, and the paint dried on the cardboard, and you're able to tear it up and throw it out.
Yeah.
So there's different ways. They do not want you to put liquid paint.
Yeah.
It'll make a mess, but in your
Ooh,
garbage
yeah,
cans.
when you think about
and,
it.
and of course, it'll pollute.
The pollution, yeah. Now, you talked a little bit paper and electronics. I have an old laptop that's sitting. I don't know how to dispose of it. Can I take it?
Again, now this is a SWANK event, which is the Suburban Committee for Recycling, all that. We're members of SWANK. It's the Northwest Suburbs. And they have a facility in Wheeling. I think it's on River Road, but you'd have to check that. And they have where you can go there all the time, certain days, obviously, the hours, but drop off paper recycling, electronics, not the paint and motor oil, but other things. And you can go to the website and look at everything that's accepted. Just like with the paint, you can go to our, in fact, if you mentioned about the newsletter showing them, it lists everything that you can bring, and pretty much it's got a list of things not to bring.
Oh,
So again, hazardous waste, spray paint, roof compounds like
oh.
like tar and
Tar.
things like that. We can't take those kind of things. Pesticides.
Oh.
So people try to bring stuff like that, thinking this is just take all
Sure.
hazardous stuff.
Yeah.
This is just oil and paint. So we ask, don't bring that because we won't take that out of your car.
But is there a day now that they will take for recycling papers here in the village?
Yes, we do that every year, and it's next month in June 1st. It's always the first Saturday of June. Same place, the Elk Grove Public Works facility.
Do a lot
on
of
Devon.
people turn out for
That's
that?
a lot more. We had almost 600 cars last year. Just to give you about 20,000 pounds worth of electronics. TVs and DVRs and laptops.
TVs are hard to get rid of.
They are. Well, believe me, I've helped in that. Lifted.
yeah.
There's still those big 36-inch TVs
yeah,
out there, but pretty
yeah.
much everything's thinner TVs
Sure.
now. And then 15,000 pounds of paper was shredded. So that's.
I mean, that's
a
pretty
lot of
good
weight.
because I'm remembering a time when I wanted to get rid of a TV, I had to pay to get rid of it.
Yes.
So now you can get rid of your TV
Well, you
on
can
June.
you can actually do that with this event, but also if you also can look at and our website, and also it'll say sometimes in the newsletter, Groot will come and take the TV.
They will.
And that you just have to contact them. Now, I think you're allowed 2 electronics a month or something like
Oh.
that, free. And then, so they'll come and take a TV, but they're not, you have to call them and let them know. So there's other things that Groot will take away, but you will basically have to pay for that. If not like a TV,
Yeah.
but if you want to get rid of everything on one day, which I do,
Yeah.
this event, and again, the line is a little bit longer, but it still sits all on the Public Works property. Because the way it moves, you split up. If you're just doing paper, you go on one line. If you're doing both, you do another line. Just electronics, you have another line. And this way, it's like a bunch of ants running around.
Boy.
But
And it's such
very
a
quick.
good feeling when you get home and you've got all that paper pile and paint cans gone.
You know, I like shredding everything nowadays because I don't like throwing anything in the garbage
Yeah,
that
they
has
say
any
you really
information
should,
on that.
yeah.
And if you really want to, at the paper recycling, you can get out of your car and watch the paper go into the shredder. They actually have a TV screen
Yeah, I
that
bet
watches
there are some
the shredder.
people that probably want to do that.
Yeah. Well, you want to feel safe. You want to make sure if you're saving these, like bills that have your numbers on or anything like that it's there. So, you're welcome to get out and take a look and watch it. But we also don't want everybody just to come run and watch everybody.
Right. Again, they need their ID for that.
Now you also need an ID for this, but you can live anywhere in a SWANK district, which
Oh.
could be, I think there's probably 12, 13 towns.
okay.
And they hold these at other areas too. So if it's a SWANK associated town, you could go, say, maybe to Mount Prospect, and they have theirs. Or you could go into Northbrook and go to theirs, as long as you have your ID.
Well, Jeff, will you promise to come back here again?
If I don't get fired by the last interview I had.
In either capacity, but
Sure.
it's fun to have you as our guest.
Well, it's fun to talk about some stuff that
Yeah.
I deal with all the time. So.
Yeah. And you do a good job.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
know.
You're so nice.
Yeah. Mhm. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
And we thank our viewers for being with us once again. Jeff and
Joe Bush
Joe
was
Bush,
here earlier,
yeah.
the new trustee. So
yeah, that was nice.
people
too.
get to know him. He's a very good guy.
Yeah.
So
Good show, good platform here. And as always, we thank you for being with us, Jeff, and for myself, for all the staff here at EGTV. We wish you a fun spring and clean up, and we'll see you next month on In the Grove. Bye for now.